We welcome you back in the series of 12 Mahajan, their life and pastimes. Currently, we are presenting episode 20. If you want to see other videos, kindly go to the playlist and click the playlist. You will be able to go to other videos, or you can follow the description where I have provided a link of my blog site, and there also other videos you can see. In this episode and the previous episode, we are talking of Lord Kapiladeva. In the episode 19, we have spoken of Lord Kapiladeva's appearance and particularly about his parents and especially on his mother, Ma Devahuti. We have also described that Ma Devahuti got benediction from Lord Narayan himself, and Lord Narayan took birth as Lord Kapiladeva in her family. So when Lord Kapiladeva grew up and Ma Devahuti has by then served many years to Lord, she wanted to know from Lord what are the method she needs to follow or living being needs to follow to get mercy of Lord. The teaching what was provided by Lord Kapiladeva is actually part of Sankhya Yoga, which he was originator, and I have taken some of the teachings from the verses of Srimad Bhagavat. However, I am no authority. In case there are some errors, please forgive me or blame it on my incompetence. I request all of you to see this video till end, because this I cannot make in different section, because this is a complete one chapter which you need to present. Hare Krishna. Since Lord Kapiladeva's teaching was the base of Sankhya Yoga, it is important to us to know what Sankhya Yoga is. Sankhya Yoga refers to the path of knowledge or self-realization and the understanding the nature of reality. The word Sankhya can be understood in two ways. It can be meaning as number, or it can be meaning as knowledge. Yoga signifies a path or a discipline, the way we can reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the context of Bhagavad Gita, Sankhya Yoga is an analytical approach to discerning reality through knowledge and understanding. So, if someone wants to follow the process of Sankhya Yoga, he has to derive many things, understand through proper analytics, and then through that analysis, he should be able to reach Supreme God. Now, in his teaching, while speaking to Ma Devahuti, Lord Kapiladeva first spoke of who is the Supreme Lord and what are his qualities. What Kapiladeva said, the Supreme Lord is devoid of any material quality. What are the material qualities? Whatever qualities we see in the material world, those qualities are actually the reflection of the spiritual world. But these qualities, material qualities, are not present in case of Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he is energetic and all energies emanate from him. Therefore, it is possible for him to convert the material energy to spiritual energy, or spiritual energy to material energy. So therefore, when Lord Krishna advents in this material world, he doesn't come with any material body, or he doesn't come because he has to do some karma. Lord comes here to do his pastime, and when he comes, his material body, his material body is not there. He has a spiritual body, and that body, his mind, his intellect, his name, those are all non-different. So Lord Kapiladeva wanted to clarify what is the position of Lord Krishna. He is Sarva Karana Karanam. So all causes emanate from the real cause, which is Lord Krishna. By his divine glance, he creates all material world and living entity. And by his wish, these living entities are allowed to procreate and create other things. The material world in which we are staying, that is covered by 24 material elements. And because it is covered by 24 material elements, it is so dark that we need the sun and moon to illuminate them. But the moment we go out of this material world, the entire world is illuminated by the Brahma Jyoti, which is nothing but the illumination of God's own body. So Lord Kapiladeva, before started his teaching, he first wanted to define who is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then slowly he came to the point why we need to go back to that abode where the Supreme Lord is staying. In his teaching, Lord Kapila informed, or he wrote, that the living being true identity is he is a spirit soul. The material body which we possess today is consist of 5 material elements and 3 subtle elements. The material elements are the earth, water, fire, air and ether, which is visible to us to some extent. But the subtle elements, which are mind, intelligence and false ego, they are not at all visible to us. We do not know even where they exist. These 8 elements, they are very strong and they control our action and our desire. So the spirit soul, which is actually the true owner of this material body, he is encased in this material body, because the spirit soul requires a material body to stay in this material world. It has a tendency of forgetting its own identity under the influence of the illusion or Maya. So all of us, all the spirit souls are actually part and parcel of Supreme Personality of Godhead. We all were there in his abode and was busy in doing his service. But when we became little envious to Lord, or we wanted to enjoy the material world or enjoy the facilities in absence of him or being different from him, then we have been sent to this material world. And when we sent to this material world, the spirit soul requires a body to come to the material world. So we got a body, and based on the different lives, different karma and different wishes, we keep on getting one after body and another. Like for instance, if we go by Bhagavad Gita, in 8.6, Bhagavan Krishna is telling that at the time of death, whatever thought process, very strong desire comes in our mind, we get a body with reference to that particular desire. So therefore, we are keeping on changing this material body one after another, and based on the karma we do, we are getting attached. The original spirit soul, which is the owner of our body, is consist of only 3 elements, which is called Sat, Chit and Ananda. Whereas Sat is eternity, Chit is knowledge, and the Ananda is bliss. And our Lord is also made of exactly these 3 things. Although because we are part and parcel of Lord, the same quality we also have in our body, in our soul, but very minute quantity. But unfortunately, because we have forgotten our identity, we get dragged by our mind, by our intelligence, and we try to fulfill our desire or sense gratification. And this sense gratification is the main reason why we keep on roaming around in this cycle of material cycle. After talking about the true identity of living being and the material body's constituency, Lord Kapiladeva, he told his mother that the main reason of the suffering of the living entity is his mind's attachment to the three modes of nature. These three modes of nature are very strong and they are the actual doer of the activity as per the desire created by the living being. When we are attached to those activity or those karma, then we keep on getting entangled in those result of the karma. So the main reason for the bondage is the attachment of mind to the material nature. If the mind can be attached to Lord instead of those three modes of nature, then that will create the reason of liberation also. The same living entity, when he forgets the Supreme Lord and becomes completely attracted to these three modes of nature, they are forced to travel through various species of life. As per our Srimad Bhagavad Gita and also Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 88.4 million species of life. And out of that, the most important and highest species of life is human life. And in human life also there are several species. Now, when living entity wants to enjoy this material nature which is created by Lord and wants to be happy here, then they do the activity for which they are forced to travel through these various species of life. Now, because he does karma, in order to enjoy the fruit of karma, this living entity is put into the womb of mother through the semen of his father. In that condition of life, he suffers terribly. It is called birth pain. On the 7th month of his life, he again regains the consciousness and he remembers the past sin, what he has committed, and he prays to God to protect him from all the sin. But on the 10th month, when he comes out of the womb, the terrible pain again make him forget his promises to serve Lord and he starts committing the sinful activity again. When he takes birth, gradually by the influence of Maya, as explained in the previous slide, he forgets his own true identity and he gets attached to the materialistic life cycle. And therefore he becomes attached to his body, his wife, his children, his wealth and all this material happiness. And thereby he more forgets Supreme Lord. And therefore you see, there becomes a repeated cycle of birth, death, disease and old age, which till now, including science, no one has been able to get rid of. So, Lord Kapiladeva was explaining to Mother Devahuti, as long as our mind is attached to these three modes of nature, there is no way we can get rid of them. So the question is, how we will attain the self-realization, how we can get rid of this meaningless life cycle of birth, death, old age and disease. what scripture says and what Lord Kapila has said, by hearing the topics of only Supreme Lord in association with his devotees, the living being will enter the path of self-realization. Hearing will enable his purification of mind. More and more he will hear, he will develop the faith. After faith, he will get the attachment to Lord. And finally, he will develop the love for Lord. Spontaneous attachment for the Lord is much superior to liberation. And those who give up everything and engage in continuous worshipping of Supreme Lord are definitely eligible to obtain the chance of getting eternal service to the Supreme Lord. Such devotees by default return back to the Godhead, and as Lord Krishna has said, they do not need to control, they do not need to come back to this material world again. So, this is a very important conception which has been mentioned in our Vedic philosophy, Sankhya Yoga, Bhagavad Gita, and also by Lord Kapila in response to his mother's question that how I can get peace of mind. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse number 5, Lord is telling, one who knows that the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, and who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level, see things as they are. As we discussed in the first slide, Sankhya Yoga is a method of analytical study, and the way we need to reach Lord, there are various ways, and Sankhya Yoga also enables people to go there, but that way is the analytical study. But when analytical study and devotional service, they mix together, and the person, when he sees them in the same level, definitely they make very much progress. In one of the lecture in London, Srila Prabhupada said, whether you are following the Bible, the Vedas, the Quran, the result must be that you are increasing your eagerness to hear about God and love Him. Hearing is so important. Lord Kapila has said, just as the fire emanates from the wood and then burns the wood itself by performing activities without any material desire, and by hearing the topics of Supreme Lord, a person gradually disassociates himself from the absorption in that matter. Which means, simply by executing devotional service to the Supreme Lord, the living entities become self-realized and ultimately go back to the eternal abode of Lord, from where he originally came. Therefore he said, O Mother, to distribute his causeless mercy to the living entities, the Supreme Lord manifests himself in the world as a form of deity. Because for us, the conditioned soul, it is very difficult to have the divine darshan of Supreme Lord Himself. Therefore, Supreme Lord is so merciful, He manifests Himself in the form of deity, and we get opportunity for hearing or serving or seeing the lotus feet of the deity form or meditating on this form, our ignorance becomes completely dissipated and we surrender to the Supreme Lord. Therefore, as a conclusion, one should therefore shun all material attachment and meditate only on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who holds a conch, disc, club, lotus in his four hands, who wears a yellow dress, whose ears are decorated with dazzling earrings, and whose head is adorned with peacock feather, and who wears a necklace with kasturba gem, and who is decorated with beautiful garland of forest flowers. If we can meditate in that form of Lord, then there is no doubt we will get liberation and we will go back to the eternal service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is the only way we can cut all material attachment and we can return back to Godhead. After hearing this whole philosophy from Lord Kapiladeva, Mother Devahuti became very pleased, very satisfied, and she then left her family, started on the journey of renunciation and austerities and trying to get the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Kapila's teaching is an important part of 12 Mahajan, and although I am completely unqualified to speak a single word on them, but I tried to say a few words. If you feel I have made a little bit pleasant to your ears, it is all glories to Lord Kapila and his writings. And if you feel that I have made lot of mistakes, please forgive me and blame it on my incompetence. We end the chapter of Lord Kapila here, and in the next episode we will try to talk about the next Mahajan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare.